Good evening, SRA Nation.
We're excited to get this season off with a bang.
I think they're all taking tires. And on top of that, it's going to be saucier. It's going to be an all-out shootout to the end. He's got line of sight on these guys.
I commend you for the bravery. He's getting this close to the diffuser.
All you gotta do is win the race. You don't have to lead a whole bunch of laps.
Oh, they're going to be side by side coming into the next corner.
Oh, that's a big contact in the back of the field.
Can't stay out there like this.
He stayed in it!
We're off and away for SRA.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. After some technical difficulties, we're here to deliver the Season 11 Division 2 final round, round number 8. And it's here at Watkins Glen, New York. We've got an exciting race ahead of us, as always, with 4 drivers mathematically in contention to take the division golden crown and 12 drivers potentially able to place in the top 3. It's a wide open race that's sure to be packed full of some close driving and some exciting racing. My name's Jay, and with me in the commentary booth, straight off the back of his own race his own race last night, is Sam Rawith. Now, we were met with some technical difficulties when we were trying to stream this last night, so this is, at least the intro, is a retrospective intro. So Sam will be joining us for the commentary of the race, and my audio might sound a little bit different now that I've had a chance to listen to it back. But we apologise for the issues last night, and we hope that now this will work almost seamlessly, and we'll get a great spectacle in front of us. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and go across to the track map. Now, this is Watkins Glen. It's described as a spiritual home of motor racing in the US. First opened in 1956, hosting illustrious events such as NASCAR, Formula One since 1961, F1 legends like Jim Clark, Graham Hill, Jackie Stewart, Emerson Fittipaldi, Niki Lauda, James Hunt and Gilles Villeneuve have all had successful outings around this track over those years. Formula One might have moved on from Watkins Glen, but the GT3 World Championship has not, and that's why we're here today. So we're looking at a very fun, very tight, very fast circuit here. 11 turns, a 5.5 kilometer or 3.451 miles if you're British or American. Track length. It's full of twists and turns, most notably on the run up to turn 5 there you've got the infamous bus stop. You know, it's a very awkward quick chicane, bound to produce some results. It always does. And turn 1 and 2 always tight, especially at the beginning. So we'll see how our drivers deal with that one and see how we come out the other end. So with that in mind, we will move on to the sponsors. And so a huge thank you as always to our SRA sponsors and title sponsors for supporting us here at SRA, as well as support from Documise. Documise is a modern business solution for product management. Go to documise.com to learn more today. And support from Retro Saga, a North American based gaming company that provides accessories for your classic systems, including Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation and much more. Enhance your retro gaming experience today at retrosaga.ca. And a big thank you to our affiliates, Track Racer. Experience redefined gaming with Track Racer's high quality sim rigs and accessories. Use code SRATE at checkout to support us. That's SRATE at checkout. Armamentario, a toolbox for ACC that will enhance your chance to win. Enjoy a fully customizable and enhanced HUD to change the way you experience ACC. AT3D Sim Shop. Upgrade your sim experience, your sim racing experience with premium 3D printed accessories featuring precision crafted magnetic shifters, sleek cable management solutions, a versatile stream deck mounts, and immersive dashboard displays. Their innovative design, enhanced performance and style elevate every lap with top tier quality and craftsmanship at at3d.net. Go Setups. Premium esports setups for everyone. Use our affiliate link on our Discord and take your drive to the next level. And from Castle and Cauldron, a home-based crafting business specializing in handmade Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts and Fairy World collectibles, magic wands, potions, mini dioramas, wall decor, costumery, cosplay and much more. Castle and Cauldron is where crafting meets the magical. Visit facebook.com/Castle Cauldron to see more. And then let's talk about how the race begins, where the positions are, who's in for the running, and where is it all going to end up. Now, we would bring you, of course, on screen the display that would demonstrate a visual cue as to where everybody is. However, because this part is being posted after the fact, the amazing technology that we have will already show an updated leaderboard. So I don't want to give that away to you guys too yet, but what we will do is at the end of the race, we'll bring that back up and we'll establish exactly where everybody is finished in the Division 2 title race. But suffice it to say, going into the race, we have up to 12 drivers that could potentially nick the top position, the championship win for the overall, and even more so in the silver division. So this race has a lot to play for. A lot of different drivers can make a lot of movement up and down the board going into this race. It promises to be a very, very good and tight race. All right, let's begin then by going through the starting lineup for our drivers here for what is the final race of the Season 11 Sim Racing Alliance. We do have one driver, Mr. Doyle, who's starting from the pit lane at the moment, so that's why you see a bit of a gap there in the midfield. So to begin with, we've got Mr. Loic Normandou in the McLaren, number 860. Archie in the Ferrari 296, numbered 85. Platt in the Ford Mustang, which is a great time in the Mustang, number 30. Anastasi, number 87, in the 296. Mr. Anderson in the McLaren 502. Mitchell in the McLaren, number 10. I think there's a bit of a theme developing here with a more agility, more agile cars in the corner, the McLarens, the Ferraris. We've got Mr. Troxclair in the 222 McLaren, Fire Queso in the Ferrari 7 in number 710, Mr. Riff in the Ford Mustang number 79, Higgs in the McLaren number 163, Moffat in the Ferrari number 64, Kim in the McLaren number 29, Wheeler in the Mustang 613, LeMay in the Porsche in the 882, Schaefer in the Porsche as well, 288, Speed in the Ferrari 296, number 76, Diggs in the Porsche number 156, Selena Bousra in the Porsche number 25, Arced in the BMW number 370, Williams in the McLaren 720, Big Daddy in the Porsche number 54, White Scarver in the BMW number 26, San in the Ford 105, Hartmann in the Ferrari, number 48, Barty in the Porsche 832, Artem in the Audi, finally the beginning of the Audis, in the 415, Olsen in the BMW 984, Osborne in the Porsche number 92, Damiani in the Mustang 777, Smith in the Audi 443, and as we said before, Doyle starting from the pit lane number 281. So with the grid established, this is it. The drivers are now going to start the formation lap, going all the way around the track, try and get as much warmth into their tyres as possible, get their brakes in the right place, all ready to come back here into the bowling lane, ready to tackle turn 1. We'll see what they've got to offer. As everybody makes their way through now. So, as everybody knows, there's a few corners on this track that the drivers really have to pay attention to. Coming out of turn 3, you're immediately onto turn 4, you're immediately onto a straight that arrives us here at the infamous bus stop. The bus stop is incredibly technical. Any sort of going 2-3 wide into the bus stop is guaranteed action for us watching it here at home. We'll see how the drivers deal with it. I'm sure in the formation lap it won't be a problem. We're going to stick though with the lead driver though for the formation lap. As you come out of the bus stop, you're going around turn 5 here. It's a long right-hander entering into a downhill, preparing yourself to get onto the brakes, go into a tight-ish left-hander, and again a small straight. So all this track is about is exit speed out of the corners, especially bus stop, and especially turn 1. And maximizing your exit speed to try and get the best run that you can going onto the straights. Now this is where drivers in the Mustang will be licking their lips, assuming they can make it through the rest of the track. We have a tight right-hander here. It's an uphill right-hander that I personally can never get right when I'm driving it myself, but these guys are far better than me, so I'm sure that won't be an issue either. Going again onto another straight, driving up and over the crest of the hill there, will arrive you at turn 9, which is a tight right-hander. You see here, trying to just get all the tyres warmed up, ready to go. This is actually Loic's first pole position of the season, so a few nerves are going to be rolling through his system for sure. How's he going to maintain it? How do you get that going? How do you establish yourself on that lap 1? So you can see he's just trying to get everything into the right area now. As they now come through onto the second to last corner, which is it's an interesting one. You don't brake, it's a lift, but if you lift at the right time, it makes all the difference. So again, quite technical, and that's the beauty of Watkins Glen: technical, tight corners and some fast flowing corners. And again, all about getting that ultimate exit speed. So we'll stick with the leader then as we go around this third gear right-hander. Again, prioritizing the exit speed, trying to use as much of the exit as possible. So let's see what these guys have to offer now as we come down the bowling lane. What do we have? Will Mr. Normandy be able to hold the lead? Can Archie challenge? And what does that Ford Mustang have to offer, especially going down that straight after turn 1? And it's a green flag, and they are away. It looks like a really good start by Archie there on the right-hand side. Normandy taking the inside line. Platt, is he looking up the inside? No, I think he backs out quite respectfully there. Doesn't want to try anything on lap 1, turn 1, as the drivers all seem to be, especially from the front of the grid, quite clean through. Although Archie and Normandy going neck to neck through these two corners. Normandy still with his lead intact just for the time being. Archie filing in behind now. As we come down to the infamous bus stop, are they going to go side to side? They're not. No, they're going to file in closely behind. It looks like everybody's gone relatively clean through there, which is fantastic to see. Okay, so we're back. apologies for these technical difficulties, guys. But we're going to try and get you guys some coverage as we go through this. So,
Yeah.
Everything going on?
Well, it certainly looks like we've made it through fairly clean, except in the back there are 2 cars that are straggling. I wonder if they started in the pits. We were unfortunately not able to see, but that's what I would guess. Otherwise, it's D2, so you sort of expect a certain level of cleanliness. And, you know, all their tires should be warming up. The track is optimum, which is very nice because the temperatures have been pretty cold and the track has been fast through quali and in practice. So an optimum track, their tires warming up. We should just be heading off into the races here. It looks like pretty much everybody in this main pack are within a second of each other still. So even though it looks like there's a gap here between, you know, P4 and P3, it's still just under a second. We're actually looking at nobody really getting away, but it looks like the front 2 there are battling, going to go up the S's side by side. Let's see if we can see how they'll... There we go. Oh, Loic seems to have stayed in front. This will be interesting. He's got a Ferrari behind him. So this is Ferrari on McLaren and another Ferrari back there. It looks like the McLaren has the legs and probably a low downforce setting for this, which is very important for the places where you can overtake here in Watkins Glen.
Yeah, absolutely. We are just also working through some issues with control as well. So bear with me for just a minute, guys.
So if we're looking into the, this is, you know, the last race of the season, and we want to start looking at what might happen at the end of this race, who's going to, you know, pull things off, who's going to win. Certainly, we're only a few minutes in the race, so it's a little bit hard to say, and we do know that the series, the standings, are very close for the top 5, shall we say, overall drivers, and top 5, shall we say, overall teams. The lead driver is Jared Troxclair, who is right now in P7, with Fire Queso is in P2, and right now he is in P6. So those 2 are battling, and they are 83 points away, so Queso is going to need a big gap on Troxclair to make up, you know, sort of get to that win here. But it looks like the other sort of top 5, top even, you know, 10 can have some movement all within their 2 or 3 cars around them. And the teams, that's going to be interesting. The teams have much closer gaps, right? The top team is only 35 points away, and that's very easy for 2 teammates to make up. So we might see some movement, and we'll try to keep you apprised as the time goes on, and we'll do some math here and there. But it looks like we are now sort of just moving in a nice stream, a train, if you will, you know, keeping clear and safe. Everyone's still within that second, except for the front 2 seem to have opened up a little bit of a gap. That is certainly something we've talked about seeing here in D2 a lot, is the front 1 or 2 cars sort of getting out and just doing some hot laps for an extended practice session, it almost feels like. Oh, and we had some yellow in the background, which unfortunately we won't be able to catch it to 100%, given our streaming difficulties and my inability to do the picture-in-picture.
apologies for that intermission. Race control is playing with us, but it's back up and running. So let's continue. Still a close race at the moment. Archie just trailing Norman there. We've got Smith, Osborne, and Anderson. It looks like in the pits now, so I'm not too sure who this one is. Sam.
Well, so it certainly looks up front like they're running, 44.9 lap. I mean, those are, and we saw them qualifying in the 43s, but that's still a very fast lap. So, of course, when you're out front, you can do this. Looks like Archie is trying to get a run down in here. Hopefully he doesn't take a dive into the bus stop. But just to note, John Archie and Matt Anastasi, the two Ferraris in P2 and P3, they are teammates. They are currently P3 overall as a team, and this would definitely serve to bump them up a little bit. Loic, his team is not near there, let's say. But he's had some good races, so hopefully he can take this battle and stay in front. We've got some gaps expanding behind there, but still have a fair number of groups that are all within a second of each other. That magic within a second fighting is certainly exciting as long as you can keep it going, and hopefully you can deal with the turbulence of the air behind the car in front, the defending and attacking you're doing, which will of course slow you down, and that's why you'll see some of these gaps expand, is the people that are actually battling each other, they're always going to go slower than whoever is able to be in clean air. So that's something to look out for as we see these battles continue. The gaps that form, does somebody try to get away from it? Is somebody sort of the cork in the bottle, and therefore when they eventually get past, do they drop back and everyone gets through them? All of these things can certainly happen as we are barely into this race right now.
Yeah, it's holding up. I'm liking this train. Just gets a shot. Let's take a look back at that one. You obviously mix.
Oh wait, nope. There it is.
Alright, so still track limits
Yeah, very lenient. And also, it's one of those things where if you want to turn in at turn one and sort of wrench your wheel over and then sort of allow it to track you out, that's a very good way to do that turn. But if you mess it up a little bit and the guy behind you doesn't, getting a run all the way up the S's is the easiest way to make that pass. And it looks like he didn't want to mess it up, so he might have slowed down a bit too much, and therefore we watched John Archie just overtake him in between turn 1 and turn 2, which is not nearly as common.
I'm trying to keep up with him with that massive queue, massive changes for him. It's keep focusing on the front. Interesting. He starts in third place. It's the fastest lap. So, it's even at the front. It's not just a clear-cut driving for actually.
No, and especially if Anastasi is able to pass Loic at this point, he will then be right behind his teammate, as we said. So is there team orders? What happens if he's catching him? Do they just sort of try to, keep going and take the lead as much as they can? Or let's actually see where they are individually. It looks like, oh, they are back and back, number 5 and number 6 individually also. That is a nice little dive into the bus stop, but some argy-bargy coming out of there. And now they're too wide. Oh, are they going to stick it? And what do you do behind him? What do you do behind when you see something like this?
You're trying to make a move, you're hoping you but all you can do is hang there, I suppose.
Ooh. Yeah, the Mustang was very strong last night, with the right downforce and everything, on any one of these straights, the Mustang's able to just pull so hard. It seems like it accelerates all the way through the end of the rev range, and looks like we're getting another dive, but he pulled out in the back to be safer, so that's good. This whole group going too wide and then, you know, cutting back in behind each other at each one of these turns, then too wide again and cutting back inside. This is just shoulder and shoulder the entire way around the track. Maybe they are. Maybe we didn't know, but they all went carbon black to screw with us specifically. But no, I mean, it's not going to stop the racing from looking, you know, good and good battles. That's what we're going to see here. That's what we're expecting.
Now behind Trix, he seems to sort of settle down. I think he's sort of taking account of where they're at. Slowly building back up.
We're actually behind Fire Queso there too. Oh, okay. So if you guys don't know, because maybe you haven't seen it happen, but on this track, I don't know if it's a recent sort of patch or something. When you come out of the bus stop, if you sort of go over the grass and curb a little bit, it will bounce the car like you're in a bounce house. It is absolutely insane to watch and to have happen to you. So when you see something like that, when you've got too wide coming out of the bus stop and someone's got to take it a little bit to the right, a bit wide, that is a very commonly going to be a crash, be it an accident, be a spin or something. They will bounce up and down and up and down. So you've got to really take care when you see someone doing that to maybe lift a little bit or just try to go on their inside, as they will inevitably bounce to the left side of the track.
It's tricky. Oh no, we've had can't get out there. I believe it's Sam.
I think that was Austin White's car. Oh no. I think it was a BMW, and it was Austin. Yeah, he's going into the pits right now. Yeah, so actually that turn, turn 9 there, at the end of the boot, you know, come up the heel, that is a very difficult turn. And then that commonly causes people to wipe out, because it's just a turn where you're doing something that racing drivers are not able to do. You have to be patient. You have to wait until the car comes around before you can get on the throttle. And when you're neck and neck with someone, and you know, I'm just gonna stop for right now. We've got too wide coming up the S's. They are literally bumper to bumper going down here. Looks like he's got a run on him. He's gonna try to take him into the bus stop, but I don't know if he's got him. And then the bus stop, of course, goes inside, outside, outside, inside, or vice versa. And so he's just, yeah, that was a good attempt to go up there, but it did not work. Big Daddy got away, and it actually looks like Williams back there ended up getting in trouble now with Doyle right on his tail. Yeah, you know, when you go offline like that and then you start getting a little squirrely, you're going to get your tires to be all mucked up, and, well, it looks just like he's got the power on the Porsche there, though, but had to stay outside, had to stay wide again, not doing himself any favors. Really should just tuck in right now. We've got too wide going into the turn where we watched Austin Whitescarver go around last time. That is a intense location to try to go too wide, I'll say.
Looks like at the front things are starting to so the action is pretty much here. We're going to go ahead again to
Yeah, there's one thing. Oh, go.
No, you go.
Well, I was going to say, there's one thing that, you know, you always have to sort of keep your eyes in tune with when you're watching racing is that you look at the gap timer over on the left with these cars where they're, you know, 0.4 seconds or, ooh, okay, we got someone going slow. What happened here? Did he?
Oh,
Yep.
he took that. Yeah,
There's the
that's
curb.
right.
There's the bounce we were talking about. And
That's 163.
looks like he escaped with not much damage, though. And hopefully back on that and full speed. Oh, things are kicking off 20 minutes in here. Not what you might expect.
It's all starting behind Selena there in the Porsche.
Oh, of course. Yeah, so like I was saying though, I mean, when you have gaps that are, you know, less than a second, but you're watching, your eyes can play tricks on you, and that happens when you're in the car too, where there's sort of a slinky effect. So on the straights, the gaps look pretty far apart, but then as soon as you brake, everyone comes suddenly right together, and the time between you hasn't changed, so it's something you have to sort of keep an eye on and understand, and it can be a little bit scary, and it's something you got to learn. It looks like we just had someone else go into the pits there, and I believe, yes, there he is. Andy Speed, an apt name if there is one. And if we look at some of the other cars that have pit, you know, we've got Damiani back there with the fastest lap, so clearly getting out into free air has done him a very good service.
It's all change here, so this is, yeah, is happening. Now I think the good thing is as well, you know, if you've taken an early pit, I don't think it's impossible to get yourself it was Dean Delindo in Division 5, you know, he started from the back, took an early pit, and ended up finishing P5. So if you've got the pace, it's not
Oh no, and especially with the people sticking close in the rest of those battles that may slow each other down or even cause each other to crash or spin, you know, you can always get that stuff back. We're still very early in the race. I will say though, it was nice of Artem there to scratch up his car in a unique way. It looks like enough of these black carbon liveries will all scratch their cars up in a unique way to give us a livery we can maybe pay attention to.
Well,
Very kind of them for us.
Obviously, what we did was we had the complete intention of just wanting to definitely see where there's damage on the cars. You know, for you guys watching this back,
That was it.
that was the intention. So it's the best way to do it.
And then specifically, if some car looks too clean, we'll just use the commentator's curse to rough it up a little bit.
100%. So,
Just start spitting out any number you want. See him, you know, go off into the distance.
now, the one thing that I will say is actually Anastasi's lost the position there to Platt.
Oh yeah, well, Cody Platt's in that Mustang, and like I said last night, the Mustang was a powerhouse. It's just not something you can really keep up with, you know, on the straights if they've got the power down already. Depending on the setup, still, it's just not a great car to follow.
No, it's absolutely not. Those things in a straight line are an absolute nightmare for anybody that's not in a Mustang anyway. We look like we're neck and neck here between Diggs and Boonstra.
Porsche on Porsche right there. Could go too wide, but nicely backed out.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you're going to take two cars through there, the Porsches will probably do it. But wow, that is some defense right there. Knowing what was coming as soon as he had to back out, Diggs was able to defend on Hartman right behind him.
I think that's,
And Selena hopefully gets some gap.
Yeah, I think that's sensible of Selena. You know, it's a risk, right? Going too wide into bus stop, it's a risk. Take the time to just, you know, collect yourself, get back on the attack, you know, survive to fight another corner, as they say.
Oh yeah, actually it looks like I'm looking at the left, but Selena and Matt had actually swapped places already at that point, so I was incorrect.
No, it's fine. It's one of those things with the leaderboard on the left. It takes a second to update it. So I've
Daddy Doug coming for potentially coming for Matt Anastasi here, but he goes into the pits, so I guess he probably was not having great tires. Maybe was just tired, losing some places. Something might have happened, so he's going to take that pit early now and hopefully coming out in clean air.
Oh, 100%. Like you were just saying, it's not a problem at all. It's just it's almost a get out of jail free card, and also the undercut we know is powerful around here as well. So, you know, it's well, from last night we know that it's very powerful. So, yeah, not the end of the world. They can definitely come back for sure and finish somewhere in the points.
Oh, and look at Andrew Rife here coming up the Mustang, just gonna get that run. Unfortunately, Truxclair has the run on Queso at the same time, and you're just not gonna go 3 wide into the bus stop. You're not doing that.
He said no thank you, you stay behind.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a fun battle to watch this whole race, because those are 3 different cars. They have different downforce, they have different strengths. If they can stay together, it's going to be something you're going to watch a lot like that, where someone's going to pop out just near the end of the run and see if they can make it by. If not, keep it safe, keep it clean for now.
I think a lot of these races, you know, and it's difficult when you're in the heat of the moment, but a lot of it comes down to simply, we have had a spin. This is Martin Smith. We're just going to go back. Oh, it's a bus stop casualty.
2 wide in the bus stop.
Wow. Eesh.
Almost recovered that, unfortunate. But looks like they held their brakes, so that's good.
That's a good
Waiting.
race.
Hopefully they held their brakes. It
The
seems
bus
like they
stop
did
takes
fine.
another victim.
Yeah, I mean that's what we said early though, right? Is going too wide in the bus stop is a losing proposition. You
Absolutely.
just shouldn't do it unless it's near the end of the race and it's your only chance left. There are enough other parts of this track that you can catch up in and, you know, make an overtake. And now with the damaged tires and damaged car, you're seeing Martin Smith drift around that corner.
Yeah.
Style points do not count.
Sorry for the switch, just checking. Okay, so another tight battle here. This is Evan Kim versus Wheeler, going up after turn 1 now, into turn 2, SO3.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, Evan had a great race last week. Looks like he's hoping to continue that and maybe move up here. This is 2 wide going down the back straight.
Straight in the bus stop.
But now
going
the
for it.
leader is on the inside. Oh, okay. Well, let's see if Truxclair can... Yeah, he pulled it back. Okay, so we're good. And Kim makes the pass. Good job. Good, safe maneuvering. But, man, it's, you know, right in your throat feeling like something's going to happen every time we see these guys 2 wide in the bus stop.
It's one of those. It's so enticing at the same time to make that move. But yeah, it can break you. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like you probably don't lose that much by backing out and then just getting back on the guy's tail. You know, I mean, you might lose a tenth here or there, but you already weren't going to really get by, and it's not worth the danger.
No, and that's the
as a-
thing. You know, you got to weigh it up. It's a heat of the battle. You've got to weigh it up. You know, do I take 3 minutes in the pits because I've overshot the curve and sent into the barrier, or do I lose, you know, half a second by just back?
Yeah, and we'll see if Rife goes for a dive here. Again, that Mustang power catching up, just not enough. I do feel like we could constantly just switch. Oh, and he...
Oh,
Okay,
geez.
there's the bouncing. There's the donkey kick we
Yeah,
expect.
that's not fun.
Oh, man. I was going to say, though, I mean, it looks like we could just keep hopping back to whoever's going up the S's with somebody else and see the same thing over and over to the bus
It's
stop all
just a
day.
repeat, isn't it? I mean, again, you know, we go Doyle's going into the pits there, so that is Dragon Doyle going into the pits. Now it seems like
I think we're on board with Doyle. I believe Big Daddy... No, Selena just went in the pit.
Selena just went. Even race control catches me up sometimes. So, yeah, it seems settling. Although again, we have a little bit of action here. This is now down the sector 2 side.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Fire Queso on Daddy Doug here, trying to make the move. When you're down here in the toe, you know, the boot, there's a couple places you can get a run on, but to be honest, you might just want to wait and try to get them on the front straight. You know, really just get behind the car and, you know, make them nervous. Maybe expect that if they make a mistake, you can take advantage of it. But making them nervous can make you nervous too.
Yeah, exactly. And just like we were saying as well, you know, Anastasi having to take the early pit there, but is already back up to 13th. So, you know, it's not impacted them too much by taking that early pit. We'll see how it goes at the end of the race, of course. But yeah, so the early pit option seems to be right.
And Queso into the pits too.
Oh, now that was a bit of a I know that they were strict on the pit limits, so we'll have to see. But
Well, the line is actually where he just slowed down to. The yellow line is not it, and that has caught some people out, and I think it caught me out yesterday too, where I slowed down too early. Oof. Big Daddy looks like some damage there. Hopefully going into the pits to fix that. I hope they've got the fixed damage selected. They're going to need it.
definitely gonna need that.
Something that is a little bit annoying, I would say, at this point, if you are a driver that hasn't pitted, is that because people have pitted so far apart right now, and there's gaps all over the track, there is no longer a guarantee that you're coming out in clean air.
No.
You're going to come out possibly in a battle or very close to one.
And I think this is great, though, because it's difficult for us as commentators because, it's not a case of strategy right now. I think it's a case of, okay, I've had a knock, I'm going in the pits, getting out of the way and done. And so many people have done that. We really can't say for certain where people are going to end up coming out of the pits. It's just, it is a bit all over the place at the moment. But let's look at Riffé, making the move on Moffat there into turn 1. So just the straight power of that Ford Mustang again.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that you got to see with the Mustang, at a track like this, power gives you such an advantage. But the problem is there are some turns, and even like the bus stop, where just getting those right can be an extra tenth, an extra, half second doing it the right way. And the Mustang, well, it's not exactly known for doing turns correctly. So it's something he's going to have to wrestle around the entire time while then just getting the power on correctly on the straights. You can do it, but when he's alone in this gap like this, much easier than if somebody's battling him.
Now, I think that's the great thing about Watkins Glen. As a European, I love the European tracks, but I do have a soft spot in my heart for Watkins Glen. I feel like it's one of those. It's deceptively fast as a track. The kind of tight corners that it has and sort of the long corners that it has. You wouldn't think it was that fast, but no, it's fast, and the draft is super powerful, especially in that sector 1. So again, if you've got a car like the Mustang, go for it.
Yeah, and from personal experience, the tire walls are nice and supple. That was not so fun last year, but I'm going back in a little bit less than a month, so we'll see what I can do. Looking at the current order of provisional, P1, P2 with Anastasi's sort of, well, maybe not provisional so far, but he is near the front of the have pit car drivers.
I'll tell you now, after the pits, Anastasi's back up to 7th already. So that is...
Yeah, I believe they were 3rd when they pitted, or 4th actually, yeah, because he had just been overtaken, I believe. His teammate, John Archie, leading up front with a just over 2-second gap, so really no need to come in unless he starts coming up on some back markers that may or may not get out of the way, but this is D2. That's maybe not such a large, potential, and especially with almost, a minute 45-second laps, it's also a little bit less likely to start lapping people here, but it looks like we've got a nice train going behind Anastasi here. They may not all be, or I guess this is Anastasi. I guess we've got a couple within a second or two, but then after that, it's 1.5, 1.5, etc. This is going to be tight going for the next 30 minutes.
And the fascinating thing is here, so I'm going to try and rely on race control to be accurate. So Anastasi is currently 1 minute 11 from a gap to Archie. Now, the total time in the pits at the moment is anywhere between 1 minute 4 and 1 minute 8. So, given that they're not that far off, when these guys do come around to pit, it's going to be real tight again at the front, real tight.
Yeah, and of course, if you've been leading for a while and you've just sort of been hot lapping up front and not really battling too much, it's very easy to make a mistake going into the pits because you're just sort of not paying attention as well. Or you're trying to just maximize that time so perfectly to come out and win, and it can be a real dangerous method to, not take it as easy as you'd like. But it looks like we've only got 2 drivers left that haven't pitted.
That's it, in the front 2 as well. So 1 minute. So there's about 3 seconds in. If Archie and especially if Archie gets a good pit, solid pit, everything he needs to do, hit the pit box correctly, everything like that. The gap is only going to be like 3-4 seconds, if that. So Anastasi's still right back up in there, and I think it's difficult, like you were saying. Oh, speaking of that, Archie is coming to the pits, and Norman Dale. So let's take a look. Stick with these guys.
Looks like they covered each other there.
Yeah, let's see how this works out. So Anastasi's bearing down now.
I think that he's probably gonna cut right in behind those two, but I don't know if, you know, the number of laps that he's been out for on these tires versus when they'll go out on theirs with, you know, I don't know, 4 or 5 less laps on those tires. I think that's probably going to come into play near the end of the race, even if he was able to make this undercut work.
You got to think it, but the undercut is strong. We'll see. I mean, it's got to be a pretty much a perfect pit stop for him to get them out and ahead. So we're coming around the final couple of corners here now.
Yeah, and also, I mean, Anastasi can hope that, you know, Normando and Archie are fighting each other, slowing each other down so he can catch up to them in that way, too.
So let's take a look now at Archie there. Both of them, they're coming out of the pit, just as we saw Anastasi coming onto the final straight there. It looks like they've got a good pit, but Anastasi coming up to the turn 1 now. So
Yeah, you can get on the throttle so easily out of the pit, though. They're gone. You know, they're going to be 4 or 5 seconds there, but cold tires, and they're not going to have a run on the S's. You can't really get going full speed, so let's see how quickly Anastasi catches these guys for this straight anyway.
Absolutely. It leaves Anastasi 4.3 seconds behind, 6.6 seconds behind Archie. So let's see what they can do. Meanwhile, it is all backed up once again over here. There's fighting going on all over the track. We've got 2 going in there with Andrew,
Something that oddly happened in my race last night has happened in this race too, where we have 4 Porsches together, and there's a gap between some of them, but there's something wrong with Porsches all being mid-pack. I don't like it.
Well, Celine is trying to get to the front of that pack for sure at the moment. And pull through behind, see what they can do down to the last sector.
Yeah, we certainly have a good amount of cars here, which is always nice to see in summer, you know, at the end of a season. Seeing anything more than like 25 or so, I think, is good numbers. So that's certainly nice to see that they can be battling all across this this whole track, across the whole field.
Absolutely. I'm just keeping an eye on that. And Stasi's still closing the gap ever so slightly, not by much though. So it looks like they might have gone the way, but we'll see. You know, like you said, warm tires, that sort of thing. We'll see how long that lasts. Big Daddy, let's go to Big Daddy down here, right on the back of that Ford Mustang.
Yeah, that's going to be tough to stay with, but you are in sort of the technical part of the track here. The Mustang has to take those turns slow and safe. If you can stick with it coming around the final turn here, you might be able to get a run on him down the straight. Wait for it, and he did not. Nope, the Mustang's going to get away there.
Now let's quickly cut to these two going into bus stop again, neck to neck. The Mustang's going to have to drive. Let's see if they can stick with him. No, thinks better of it. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! That is Moffat. Sorry, Mr. Speed there.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. I don't even really see, you know, what caused that specifically. I understand they were going in tight, but I don't know if that was like just taking it too hard. Did he actually have contact?
Claire dropping back as well. I think there was just a little something that happened here as well. Oh, no.
Oop.
Yeah. That's so difficult because, you know, you're coming so fast off of that corner. You get that bit of grass there and it just completely kills you.
Yeah, and we're seeing, you know, drivers that had pitted, you know, not so long ago, but definitely longer than the front two. And you know, if you're now in these, I mean, look at the track map, right? I mean, as soon as you spin a little bit or move a little bit off the wrong way, you're just engulfed by another 2 or 3 drivers. And that's going to cause even more, of the consternation trying to make it around a turn with your tires a little bit dirty and hanging it out as far as you can near the wall, etc., etc. It can get you.
It certainly can. Let's go here. We've got another little pack kind of forming here behind Speed now. Who's going into turn 1. It is just, I'm trying to catch my breath here between all the different action that's going on. I mean, Bus Stop is claiming souls today. That is for sure.
Yeah, this has been a little bit less clean than D2 has been historically this season, but the closeness of the racing is exactly what we've seen from D2. And of course, it's the last race, so maybe they're, making some moves that they otherwise wouldn't. Looks like he was just, yeah, he definitely just let him by there.
Quick look at, have we got any...
He may not be giving position back. Something that people talked about last night was when you see a Mustang coming and in the last lap or two, it's like a second faster, just let it by. It's just not worth it to fight, especially into the bus stop there.
That's true.
Yeah, it looks like they're coming down into the toe right now. There are 4 or 5 cars right here, and let's see if they all just stay exactly in that gap, but it looks like we might have a run going on behind these two. We'll see what happens as they get into the heel. Hopefully they take it safe.
This is the age-old Ferrari versus Porsche. 2 Ferraris, 2 Porsches, 14th through 17th. And the thing is well, going back to what we were saying earlier about sort of the cleanliness of the race and what have you, it's difficult around Watkins Glen anyway. But the big thing that I would say here is, the way that the championship is, every point counts for a lot of these guys. So, it's going to be one of those battles. People are desperately trying to fight for every single point they can get, which is great. We love to see it. We love that.
Ooh, that looked like a early braking done right ahead.
And the wrong time then, didn't I? There we go. All right, we're back with it. Because this is going again into bus stop.
Oh yeah, and then certainly I think what we just saw was that Andy Speed had braked earlier, which caused Paula Hartman to slow down and check up, and now he's getting caught by the Porsche behind him. He's not gonna get caught though, of course. That's not gonna happen on that straight, and it looks like they've gone sort of right back into the battle they had. Although that Diggs might have gotten a little bit unnerved there. Maybe Selena can make a move coming up in the next lap or two.
It's a proper little train. I think they all have seen the back ends of one another plenty this race so far. They're very equal in pace around here, but it's fun. It's fun. And I don't know if Speed's carrying any damage. Another invalid lap from Speed, so I don't know if that's sort of bunching them all up as well. But yeah, it's looking interesting.
Yeah, and with these tight battles, it is something to look for as drive-throughs as we get towards the end of this race, because if they are having invalid laps and going out like that, certainly if you lose a bit of time because they took it slower, you're not going to get those warnings, but we may see them come the end. And just a quick update here, at the current positions, if they sort of stay even within 1 or 2, it looks like the top 3 overall in this championship will not be changing places, at least at this current point.
Okay, so that's interesting. It's also interesting, Anastasi's falling back down already with Cody Platt already moving up within 0.4 of a second and going to be even closer coming into the bus stop. So, interesting there. I mean, it was a great drive up, but it looks like, again, maybe it's just a pacing at this point.
And it does, just another update for the silver, it also looks like they will not be changing places in the top 3, at least according to what's going on right now, but we still have 20 minutes left. That is definitely enough time to cause some chaos, and I'll try to do some math here for the teams in a second.
Yeah, this, the way that they are at the moment, this math is a little bit easy. Go to the bus stop, Big Daddy making the move going down the lane. It's, it kind of, they all split up, but then they all bunch back up again, with Riff now leading a procession again from 7th all the way down to 11th. So They're bunching up, and I suppose it speaks to the consistency of the drivers as well. That those top three at the moment, they're not looking at moving. It just shows, they everyone's kind of where they should be on pace. It's impressive the sort of consistency.
Yeah, and so I have been looking now at the team for the team championship, and I believe we actually might see a jump from P3 to P1 for the team GRR Kit Kat Cartel of John Archie and Matt Anastasi. And the reason is not only are they both near the front of the pack here, but the teams in front of them, Neon Blade Runners with Brian Anderson and Jared Traxclair, and then Madhouse Racing team Close Enough with Ivan McCroat and Nixon.
What's going to happen? Going around the outside.
He's going to back out.
Oh, is he though? He's coming back at him. He's going to get the inside of it. Oh, okay. So Cody keeps that stuck now. Good overtake. Brave from both of them, I think. Very brave.
Doing that with a Mustang, very brave.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to finish that quick thought, the first two teams in the championship do not have their second drivers here. Oh, look, there we're talking about the bust up. Bouncy bounce, Nixon giving us a quick little show. Or actually, was that the Hartman? Yeah.
These guys aren't making it easy, that's for sure.
No. So I think that's honestly the only thing to really look out for in top three of drivers and teams is will P3 of the team championship jump to P1? But this is too wide. I think he's gonna keep it though, nice and easy. Yeah, that's a great pack to really try to get into the top 10 overall here. I think we're looking at okay, maybe not top 10. We're looking just to the fight for P13. I was looking at the one little group ahead of there, which also have a bunch of cars within a second of each other, and even near the front, we've got a couple cars within a second of each other. Good fighting all around. Doesn't look like there's going to be too much at the very front, so we should definitely keep checking these guys out. Anastasi looks like he's not going to get a run on the Mustang of Cody Platt. That is a difficult attempt anyway, and you don't want to do that going into the bus stop, but maybe with another lap or two. Although I guess that means that Cody passed him, didn't he?
So Cody has
That's what
passed him,
happened.
Yeah. But it's Anastasi's not looking to give it up. But what's interesting is played Mitchell's hand. He's back up in there. Now the train, there has been a movement. Diggs has overtaken Hartman, so Diggs is up to 14th now, Hartman in 15th, and it looks like get a bit of air there on that inside curve on the Ford. But that is still going on.
I wonder if Hartman is having trouble and if that's going to cause him to slip back into Selena's clutches. But, I mean, it looks like 0.13 seconds from Hartman to Diggs. That's not over either.
No, not by any means. I find it also really interesting, kind of taking a segue from this, if they'll allow me. But, Archie initially sort of looked to run away from Normandy, but they are holding that 1.5 sort of 1 to 1.5 seconds has just been consistent throughout the race. So how long can they keep that up for? It's interesting. It's going to be interesting going into the final pass of the last 50 minutes of the race.
Well, something that always helps me is having somebody to follow, sort of like a rabbit. Really go after that goal. And so if I was in P2, being able to keep up with P1 would be, that's what I would need to keep going. But if I'm out in the front of the pack like that, I'm looking over my shoulder. I'm a little bit nervous. I just don't hot lap as well when I've got that, pressure behind me. But it looks like that doesn't seem to be a problem.
It looks like Mitchell's making the move now as well on Anastasi, going into the bus stop. What's going to happen? I think Anastasi can give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe tries to maximise the exit instead, but no, it looks like Mitchell has made that pass there on Anastasi.
I think this is the early pitting and tire degradation coming back to bite Anastasi. At least that's what it seems like it could be, because he's moving down the pack here, and that does put slightly a risk in the team jumping from P3 to P1, like I said, but not so much of a risk. Like I said, the other two teams are down a driver per each of them. At least according to what I can see in the left side. Maybe there's more.
The points always surprise, you know, the calculations go in as well, and you know, there's always a surprise. There was last night as well. You know, I didn't know whether I was going to get second or not with Mike Heisner, and Heisner ended up taking it by 4 points, you know, and it's so difficult to track everything. So of course, nothing is final until it's final.
Yeah, I won't even bring up what happened in D4. That is embarrassing.
Oh no. Well, this train is still going on, and it's train on train. So Higgs is kind of making the separate point of it, separating the two trains at the moment. I feel like Higgs is already struggling, still maintaining the same distance, but there's a bit of a bump there for Sam going into, you know, what do they call it? The Wall of Champions, I think, don't they?
I don't remember if that's. I mean, there's multiple of them now. I know, which is essentially where you expect to say hi to the wall.
Yeah.
Luckily, I have not met that wall yet.
No, I avoided that last night. Thank goodness. I was going into it, but I wonder if that's giving them any damage. That's the thing. I mean, there's certainly some scrapes up that side.
Well, I mean, Diggs in the streamline catching a Mustang there. That's either just a very bad run by Nixon out of, you know, turn one and up the S's, or there's something going on. Oh, that is very wide right there. And Evan Kim doing a good, or that's Higgs in front, doing a good job of keeping it back on track and under control. That is definitely a scary thing to do here.
Diggs is all over the back there, so that's a tricky corner as well. I could never get that corner correct last night. I always felt like I was losing time. So easy to let the back end run. But look at that train. What is it?
I was going to say, that just looks great. That is such good racing.
This is so tight, man. Everybody needing points. Everybody trying to do what they can. You know, this is going to be fun to keep watching.
Oh, you know, I mean, they might be white-knuckled and sweating, but they're also having a great time. I guarantee, you know, everyone's sitting on their rigs or with a controller in their hand is having a good race right here.
A lot of fruitful language probably in the comments. But in a good... Oh, I can touch it again. He's making friends with that wall there.
Yeah, you don't need that mirror on that side. It's fine. Don't look behind you. You know, no one should catch you. Just stay in front.
I would not be looking behind me right now, that's for sure. Especially if I'm Higgs. Just keep swimming. Just keep driving.
Yeah, that actually didn't look so good through there for Diggs, but for Higgs either. Higgs and Diggs.
Here we go. It's all tight.
Oh, Son pulled back. Oh, that is. Oh, and we got someone off on the side. Donkey bouncing.
That is hard.
Yeah.
Oh, please stay safe. Yes, makes it through at least. And stays out of trouble. But, you know, there's going to be a bit of work catching back up again. 8 minutes.
I mean, 10 minutes left, you know, maybe, I don't know if I would have stayed full throttle there. Once you see the two cars in front of you going, you know, too wide or backing out, I think when you're in the middle of a train or in the back of the train like that, you have to expect things can get a little chaotic. And it seems like everyone just kept their foot to the floor, and that's what caused you to go a little bit wide, hit that bump, and just bouncy, bouncy, bounce like Tigger, all the way down the side of the wall, too.
Now what we'll do is, if these guys will allow us, we're going to take a quick switch over now to Loic up there in P2, who's completely closed the gap now, only 0.7, 0.8 behind Archie. So again, it's heating up now for P1 and P2.
Yeah, that's a terrible feeling when you've been able to hold on to something for, you know, 40, 50 minutes or so, and you see something just start slipping away, you know, and you maybe just feel like you start to choke, etc. Yeah, I mean, it could have just been one quick thing that maybe closed that gap a little bit. We don't really know since we can't watch the whole way, but it does look like they've lapped someone, actually, because we're seeing Fire Queso 8 seconds behind, and the car behind them is definitely not 8 seconds.
No,
that traffic might have been why that gap was closed up so much.
I'm just going to switch here because it's all kicking off again in the back ahead of what we're watching. we're watching Kim now in the McLaren. We've got Moffat in the Ferrari, and we've got Wheeler bringing up the rear there at the moment. And this is the battle for ninth, really. So again, all on up here. These guys, they've seen that there's 8 minutes left in the race. Moves are starting to happen.
Yeah, this is so difficult for being the back of a pack of 3 here. You never quite know which side to go. You might try to follow one guy through or do something, but it is a losing proposition to try to make it past 2 other cars that are battling so close.
There's action all over the track. I'm trying to bring you, when I can see that that gap is 0.10 or something like that. I'm trying to bring everybody the action as we get it, but there's so much of it out on track.
Yeah, and Andrew Riff still has the, or I'm probably going to pronounce his name differently every race and 10 times, so let's just go with Andrew. But he looks like he is within a second of Anastasi, who had been dropping back like we mentioned, and he's got the fastest lap, so he can get a couple more points for himself if he can get another overtake done in the next 8 minutes or so. I don't know if that will affect his championship or not. Probably not.
Here we go though. Looks like he's had a great run out onto the straight leg. Oh, he's going to try and make it around the outside. Nothing's happening. I suppose he's trying to maybe put himself in the mind of Anastasi, see if there's going to be any sort of mix up there. And I will take you into bus stop now because these 3 again, Kim, Moffat and Wheeler, oh, they all make it through safe. Thank goodness at this point in the race. You don't want anything like that to happen. But
yeah, that's got to be, white knuckle, brown pants every time they go around to the same lap. And I mean, they have what do they say? What are they? 4 more laps left or something like that, depending on where the leader is, etc. But 4 more chances for glory or destruction. Yeah, that angle looks a little bit disconcerting, but there is a curb we can go out there on the wide part there, not really something that to worry about. Selena's still right on the back of Diggs. Diggs had a couple times had chances to move up, but looks like he's moved back into Selena's clutches, and maybe she can get another few points for herself by the end of this race.
Absolutely. It is just all over the track. We're loving it, GT. Keep it going. It looks like, again, Big Daddy just a bit further down, if you'll excuse me. Going back into the sector 3 here. Damn, look at the damage on these cars. That is
it's been a tough race.
They are battle scarred.
I should mention that Selena looks like she will move up a place in the championship by the end of this race. She will likely be P4 overall. She's only 2 points behind the current P4, and he is like 10 cars behind her. So not something to worry about as long as she keeps it safe and clean here. Of course, that may be harder to do than just to say as you're battling so tightly with another of the same car too. The same sort of issues, but the same sort of benefits. So maybe you can't make that move down here into the bus stop like you wish you could. And clean through the bus stop. That's good. That's really all you gotta hope for at this point. Making it just a little bit out to the side there and hitting the bumpy bumps and going for a ride is the last thing you want to do here with 5 minutes left in the race. See, it looks like the leader of the overall championship, Jared Troxclair, is definitely not doing as well as he'd like down in P8, but he is far enough ahead of Fire Queso. I believe that should not matter. Definitely cutting it close though. And same for Fire Queso on Nixon. There is just a nice big gap there where the points are not going to make a difference. I think we still have P1, 2, and 3 locked up. Ooh, looking like we're getting a little bit wide. Multiple cars there on that turn, going into the final sort of kink before you get onto the main straight. That is very easy to go wide. You want to get on the throttle so early out of that, turn. We talked about earlier having such a big patience aspect to it, that getting on the throttle early can make you go way, way wide once you really start sweeping the car out. And of course, like we've said, you've got a lot of extra space on the curbs here, but a lot of extra space is not infinite extra space. So I'm still looking out for some possible drive-throughs at the end of this race.
It's certainly, I think there would have definitely been a warning at least going into that final corner. But,
yeah, you'd think so.
I also just realised that my mic was muted. Hey ho.
There's a bit some nice silence between us, you know.
Yeah. Let you take the reins for it. For certain, you can definitely take the reins going into these final few corners. I'll just quickly go back to the front because Normandy's still trying to make something happen.
Yeah, I mean, he's taken about 0.2 of a second back, Archie has. So I do think it might have been that traffic or even just one, little mistake. But, I mean, that's what we're talking about, is a little mistake here or there can completely change this race. And because it hasn't, that means that these two have been near on pitch perfect the entire time.
Well, just put it into this perspective. The best lap time for Archie so far has been a 1:44.035. And Loics has been a 1:44.072. So these guys are on the same level, and it's been great. I know that there's not been a lot of action since sort of the opening laps, but it's been a great race personally between these two. I know how it feels when you're just keeping that distance to the car ahead or behind. It still feels just as tense as if they're right up behind you.
Yeah, and also, being a half second or more behind. Ooh, actually, let's just switch over to this. Andrew looks like he is going for the run, and that was a legal move there. But wow, yeah, he just cut off his nose. Good offense. That is how you do it. Make it stick. And of course, we're watching Anastasi drop back another place. Unfortunately, that's sort of been the name of the game ever since the rest of the field has pitted.
It certainly has. They had a great comeback, and to be honest, pitting that early to still be 7th, I think is great. They've still done well, but at some point those tyres have got to be giving up on these. So
yeah. I mean, you might feel a little bit of annoyance. Oh wait, did those bounces finally give Selena a chance?
No, this
oh wait, we're back at another two Porsches of the same two colors. Did that give Selena. Logan Schaefer a chance? Yeah.
We're back. I mean, it's so difficult without the liveries.
Well, even their teammates too. So they look like the teammates that the cars that they are fighting are teammates. Let's put it that way.
Look at how tight these guys are now. This is crazy. Going into the final lap or the penultimate lap.
Yeah, less than a minute left here. Hopefully they have fueled their cars correctly. I know that's been a problem for some. Depending where the leader crosses the line, you might have an extra lap you didn't expect. Or if you've been fighting this whole time, you might be using a little bit more gas here or there. So hopefully we don't see anyone trundling down a slow straight later. But here we are still within that 1 second gap between the two. Specifically, it's not close enough to make a dive, I don't think.
Not yet. They're coming around the last few corners. It's so tight. We'll stick with it because these guys deserve the recognition of going over the line.
Actually, that looks like Loic might have just gained another 100th or so. Yeah, it's less than a half a second.
A bit of a wiggle though coming out. Let's see.
Little wiggle, but he is smelling blood right here.
Oh yeah.
Okay, definitely not going to cut out here. I think his only chance now is to just make that final turn just ever so better and try to drag race down the straight. Doesn't seem close enough to do it though.
What a great way to finish though. These two taking it, almost bumper to bumper. Oh.
Yeah, he's on the ragged edge trying to get this last run. Might have set it up, but I don't know if he should have.
Drag. There you have it. John Archie taking the lead. What a race between these two guys. We're going to still cut back. We've got Douglas Mitchell super close again on the backside of Cody Platt. Another drag.
Yeah, that's going to do great for Doug there for overall points as the championship pretty much wraps up for him in the silver. Oh, in the back, I don't know if that was another overtake or not, but... Okay, here's the group we've been watching.
Oh, Selena around the backside there. What's going to happen? Selena versus...
Higgs looks like she got run into the wall a little bit,
Yeah.
but she made it work.
made it
That
work on
is
the
a
last
last-second move.
Oh my
That
goodness.
pushed, you know, Diggs just slightly offline to defend, and I think that I don't know if we saw it 100%. Maybe it was a little bit argy-bargy, but that's the end for them. This is not close enough for anyone to make any dives. Banged up BMW of Arc coming across the line there. Sort of expected in this race. There was a lot of banging, a lot of, you know, spinning and wall riding, but overall, good fighting throughout the entire field, as we expect for D2.
That hour for me, other than the technical difficulties at the beginning, but once we got into the race, we're just watching Olhausen now, bringing it back for us. Last driver on the time, it's coming over the finish line for P24, and that is the season 11 wrapped up. Congratulations to all the drivers, and thank you. Like I said, those 60 minutes have absolutely flown by. I don't know what you think of it, Sam.
Oh, I mean, there was something to look at the entire time, almost too much to look at, and that's exactly how you want to finish a season. You know, that's great. I hope nobody, you know, had a race where they felt like they were, you know, caught out or had something wrong happen. I don't think I saw any of that. So, you know, overall, I think it was a good race, and I think that everyone, you know, just did as best they could. It looked great from here.
Yeah, and I think the other cool, the great thing to see, unless we missed something, but I didn't see any drive-throughs, I didn't see any stop-goes. This was just purely about who has the pace on the day. Yeah, I mean, we were treated to some fantastic racing, you know, all the way, in Selena's case, all the way up to the final corner, which, you know, the fans love to see and the drivers love to see as well. Even if you lose it, you're still happy about that move, so, or being a part of it at least anyway. So,
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like you said, any of the issues we saw on track were just, you know, hard fighting, causing some issues going to the bus stop or out of it or what have you. There wasn't any sort of, you know, mistakes made in the pits, it seems, you know, causing any sort of those drive-throughs or stop-goes, etc. And there wasn't so much going out of bounds that you have multiple warnings. I think that it was decided on track. Sometimes that doesn't work out for you, but good hard racing.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that is the recording that we've managed to do after the race. Apologies again for the technical difficulties. My audio as well being a bit quiet on that one. Tried to fix it halfway through. Look, a fantastic race, and what I'll do now, as I promised at the beginning, is we'll take a look now at the final standings. Now, I should say this is recorded and done before the appeals come out, so there is a chance that in a few days they may change again, but at least from the end of the race perspective and the end of the championship, we'll have we'll have a walkthrough and see exactly where everybody else finished off. So without further ado, let's take a look then at the driver standings. So we can see that in the end, the winner of the overall championship was Jared Troxclair. Fantastic. Congratulations, Jared. You finished on 594 points. That's some great racing. And Fire Queso taking you all the way to the end there, claiming P2 on 535 points. Just I tell you, think, you know, you're being so consistent throughout that race, Jared, and despite Fire having a fantastic race as well, there was just not much he could do. And John Archie, our race winner, managing to move up into third place and on 518 points. So that rounds out the top three of the overall driver standings. Let's take a look now at the team standings as well, because there's a lot of movement there, and you'll see that John Archie and Matt Anastasi, congratulations for GRR Kit Kat Cartel on 996 points, took the win for the team in the season 11 Division 2 title. So good job, guys. Coming in second place, Brian Anderson, fantastic. And Jared Troxclair taking, although he took the championship, he has to settle with his teammate for second place in the team standings on 981 points, only 15 points behind. And then in third place, Madhouse Racing, team close enough, with Ivan McCroat and Nick San. I might have butchered your surnames there, I do apologise, but the Canadian team coming home in 3rd place in the drivers' standings. Just fantastic all round, guys. Amazing season. I hope you appreciate through the replay of that race there. Incredibly tense racing the whole way through. Some of you weren't outside of a second from one another for more than a lap or two. So all thoroughly deserved. Congratulations to absolutely everybody. And look, we can only look forward to the next season. But thank you again. Thanks for bearing with us as well in the time that it's taken us to bring this out. And hopefully you guys have been able to enjoy that recording and that replay. So from everybody at Sim Racing Alliance, from the commentators throughout the season, and commentators everywhere, thank you so much for putting on such a great show, drivers, and thank you so much to the fans and the people at home that take the time out to either watch live or in our case watch the recordings. We do appreciate it, and we love doing it. So here's to season 11. Thank you very much. And in the coming weeks, so this season 12 for the Sim Racing Alliance will begin on the 2nd of September. So that's exciting. The calendar is yet to come out, so keep an eye out for that. And as always, we currently have for our drivers the clues as to what the qualifying track will be for season 12. So that's also exciting. Now, if you want to give it a go, please visit our website simracingalliance.com and join us on Discord, and maybe you could be in the next Division 2 train around Watkins Glen. But from now, from myself and from Sam, who obviously isn't here post recording, thank you guys so much, and see you again soon.
Like the sun, fall in the ocean. Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win, 'cause we're only human. The ghost of our past is chasing